On September 11th, the Property Clerk Division was mobilized and tasked with setting up a temporary morgue for the victims and the lost loved ones from the World Trade Center disaster. The recovery of personal property is extremely important in the possible future identification of lost loved ones and the investigation into the tragedy itself. The size and scope alone was huge for the recovery effort. The sentimental value to the family members because of such a horrific and traumatic loss in such a short span of time, all right, was an instance that we had never seen before. Ground Zero itself was a huge crime scene. Everything in that crime scene has different properties and different values. The Property Clerk Division painstakingly went through every piece of property that came into our custody. Those items that we could associate with a lost loved one that was recovered went to the investigation of identifying that lost loved one. The New York City Police Department is extremely sensitive to the needs of the citizens and to their feelings as they were trying to recover property from a lost loved one or pick up property that they lost as they tried to escape the towers on September 11th. The department, recognizing this, set up a special window so individuals who were trying to claim property from the World Trade Center tragedy would not have to wait in line and would be given a priority when they came down to try and claim property. For the recovery effort for the World Trade Center property, to return this to loved ones, knowing that loved ones were hoping to get something back, a link to their lost loved ones, the Property Clerk Division worked 7 days a week and for a specific time worked 24 hours a day in order to identify the property, clean it, and get it back to the rightful owner. As of December 2006, out of the 26,700 plus invoices that were invoiced from the World Trade Center, over 86% have been returned to the correct owner. That translates into over 23,000 of the 26,700 invoices have been returned to its rightful owner. These are items that were picked up in the debris of the World Trade Center, items that were returned with the lost loved one that was recovered, and items that came from the raking fields of the Fresh Kills facility in Staten Island. There's no definitive reason why one item survived and one item did not survive. We have items that survived in pristine condition. They look brand new. We have other items that are barely recognizable. There are not only items that were worn by lost loved ones, but there are items that were found in the offices of people that lived and worked in the World Trade Center complex. Items like flags on their walls, maybe from their travels or allegiance to a country of birth or origin. There were knickknacks on people's desks, awards that were on people's desks, and there were also sports memorabilia such as baseballs and golf balls, signed, autographed, maybe from a childhood hero. Among some of the artifacts recovered from 9/11 were wristwatches that were frozen in time with their mechanisms destroyed at the moment that either the towers came down or the individual did not survive. The most sought after and most asked item for recovery from family members was wedding bands. We did recover several wedding bands, and we were fortunate enough to be able to identify wedding bands and return them to individuals. The act of receiving a wedding band from a lost loved one is one of the most tender moments I've ever seen in my career as a New York City police officer.